I'm just confused. I'm very confused. They are talking about bombs, they are talking about attacks, they are talking about self-defense, they are talking about what would you do in the case of a bomb falling down in this city, But this city, come on. What's up everyone and welcome back to the channel. Now once again walking the beautiful streets of Vienna, this beautiful city, amazing city, perfect city that has been like 5 times the top city in the world. Lately it's been in the news a couple of times and not for positive things. So I can tell you that at least in the past month, Vienna has been a target, literally a target. There have been, at least that I know, there have been around 3 bomb threats against Vienna and institutions and schools and parks. At least 2 times that they close full streets, like the whole street, because there is a weird package, in plastic bags, whatever, and now they are having these kind of panic attacks. So they are closing the streets. They are closing everything around just for protection, but those things never happened before. And the threats, for example, against universities and institutions, they have been by written texts. Somebody somewhere threatened, like literally throwing bombs in the city of Vienna and against some educational institutions, making many schools to evacuate and educational facilities, evacuate schools, kindergartens, all that. This has been chaos. The crazy part, in some part, are the threats themselves. The letters, people saying that they're going to throw bombs here and there, yeah, that's bad. But the second thing is some people seem not to be surprised by it because we're getting used to it. We're getting into a society with that, the shootings and bombs, attacks, that's been normalized in some places. There is a threat of a bomb. Yeah, but that happens anywhere. No, that shouldn't happen anywhere. It's unfortunately, many of us, we come from countries where this is normal. Unfortunately, this happens so often. Attacks, people unaliving other people in the streets for stupid reasons, bombs, kidnappings, you name it. Different sorts of violence, just violence. But this place, like Austria, people are not expecting those things to happen here. Those things just never happened before. And then, as if this was not enough, there was a very horrible shooting in a beautiful city of Austria. Yeah, this is not supposed to happen here. And then it happens in a school, like a massacre. It was a huge shooting. If I'm not wrong, has been probably the worst shooting in Austrian history. And all of this is happening within a month. The threats, the bombs, they're careful. There have not been real bombs. They have been threats, but a threat is a threat. And sometimes making school facilities and universities to evacuate all the kids out just because of a threat, that's not a game. And again, they are going into a state of paranoia that they have been closing the streets in a couple of parks because somebody said that there was a strange package somewhere, and they said yeah, maybe it's a bomb, so we have to close the whole thing. It's I can't believe this. Around 4 bomb threats in one mass shooting that ended up being Austria's worst massacre in history. I can't with this. I can't. I don't know if you guys watched the news. And the issue is there was this school shooting in the city of Graz, a city that is very peaceful.
Police in Austria say the lone gunman who shot dead 10 people at a school in the city of Graz before killing himself left a farewell letter and a non-functioning pipe bomb at his home before carrying out the attack. Hundreds of people have gathered for a vigil for the victims of what's the deadliest gun attack in the country's recent history. It marked the start of 3 days of national mourning. The 21-year-old gunman was a former pupil at the school. He used 2 firearms, both of which were legally owned.
As any other city in Austria, really. And this is just shocking news. So, and the worst part of the situation is that when I'm telling the story, because I'm about to tell you the story, it sounds cliche. It shouldn't sound cliche because I'm going to tell you the story, but it sounds like I'm repeating again another story, another story. That's the issue, another story. Obviously, you can do your research, but I can tell you that this was again a product of bullying, school bullying. Again, this thing. This shooting was performed by one former student of a school in Graz. And it seems that the guy was, suffering some bullying during the school times. He graduated or something, and I guess it was like 1 or 2 years. I'm gonna post some links so in case you want to check the story. He was planning the whole thing to come back to school to shoot the place. It seems that it was not target to shoot specific people. It seems that it was more the remorse of the whole place, the whole institution, facility. He wanted to come back to create chaos. That's what he wanted. Now again, I'm gonna leave some links so you can check the news and the story, but that's not my point. This is my point. I don't like stereotypes. I don't, really, I don't. But this is another case of, those kids that get too much in their minds, bad time in their minds, because this kid, there are some videos. Now we finally know the face. The internet and the wonders of social media, they revealed the face of the guy. And this guy totally looked, I'm sorry, don't get mad at me because of this, but he totally looked like one of those nerdy kids who are bullied at school, very shy, that he didn't talk to anybody, he didn't have any friends. You can see this physically. The guy looked like that, like in the movies, like those guys who are shy and quiet and extremely introverted. And then one day he wakes up with, the idea of unaliving everyone. And then I started watching the whole story, checking this kid. And I started getting into the mind of these people, like what is triggering you so much that you can do something like that? And the answer is that I don't know. The answer is that I don't know, and probably you don't know as well, because these are things that are beyond our understanding. Because even if I'm too angry, upset with somebody, a situation, I still don't feel that I have the guts to just wake up and just destroy in half world. You know what I mean? That just doesn't fit in my mind. And then this past weekend, and maybe I'm a little bit embarrassed to say it, I've been watching, documentaries. You know what I'm talking about. This thing about shootings somehow is, I don't know how to describe it. I'm not going to say that it's attractive because it is not, it's horrible, but it's just interesting, let's say intriguing to understand how they did things, how they planned things, and how they ended up one day saying no more planning. Today's day, I'm going to do it. It's like, for me, it's intriguing to watch these documentaries and see these kids, literally they are kids, taking these big decisions. It's like, whoa. Now, the crazy thing about the shooter of Sandy Hook, different from the other shootings, which, as I said, sometimes I feel that I'm repeating the story because it has happened many times before and it's almost the same. The difference is that the guy, I'm going to leave the link, I promise, I'm going to leave the link in the description. The guy calls a radio station who is talking about whatever, but the guy calls, which is a teenager, if I'm not wrong. He calls, he's also a former student. By the way, this happened in the US. He calls this radio station and he's giving his opinion about something, he's talking about something, but with such eloquency, coherence, cohesion, logic, these are masterminds. These are not the stories of super uneducated kids who didn't have any choice in life. No, these kids know exactly what they're doing. And then, of course, I rewatched for the 10th time the Columbine massacre in the US. Again, yeah, unfortunately, the US falls into the, one of the countries where these, mass shootings, unfortunately, they are happening and they have happened there so many times that we are kind of normalizing this. It's sad to say it, and I don't like to say it, but we are normalizing this. And I guess you might remember the Columbine shooting. This was just crazy. I'm just summarizing. I'm not going to tell you the whole thing. You can go watch the full documentaries in YouTube. These two guys planned for months. They exactly knew what they were doing. The difference is they got armed, you know what I mean? Armed to the teeth, as they say. Bombs, guns, I don't want to say the names because probably I'm going to be, banned in YouTube maybe. Long and short and small and big and fat, different types of weapons. That I want to say it that way. They had trench coats, they had, and the issue they found in their houses after the whole thing happened, they found videotapes of them kind of talking to the camera, and they were explaining what they were going to do. You could see the rage, the wrath in their words, in their looks. And these kids were, too much time in their lonely minds, full of anger against people. And this is a documentary that maybe is going to be like, I don't know, it's going to open your eyes to understand that many people, everyone, when you walk around, everyone is a different world. Everyone, in their own little minds, they are having so many thoughts. And sometimes some of those thoughts are not okay. So, should we be scared? I don't know if we should be scared, but at least I think we have to go into a state of, asking ourselves, what would we do? What would you do if? Have you wondered? Have you asked yourself, what would you do if? How would you react? How can you be, prepared to defend yourself or your family? That's the question. The funny thing is, I'm thinking about those things. What would I do? And I have so many unrealistic situations that, if those happen in real life, I would know how to react. In my mind, in my unrealistic scenarios, I have chances. I'm going to put it that way. I have chances. I have ways to go out, to escape, to defend myself, to protect myself. And that's the issue. The surprise effect. The surprise, the unexpected time. Because you know how it is. They are always going to happen in the least expected moment, in the least expected place, by the least expected people. So the real question is, what can we do? Honestly, what can we do? So literally, number one would be, don't ignore these cases. They happen, you should acknowledge them, study them, see what happened, and don't ignore what is going on. Don't ignore these things. Don't ignore these cases, these bad things that are happening in the world, either if it's like a threat to massive, massacres, shootings, bombs. Don't ignore them. They are happening. So you better study them, get to know the reasons, get to know who did them, why. You have to study those situations because you have to know that it's going on. Please don't ignore the situations. This thing of, those things only happen in specific countries, in specific regions in the world. No. This thing of, that's never going to happen to me. No, it might happen to you. The same thing people thought here in Austria, that was never going to happen. And guess what? It's happening. It's happening, my dears. Number two, I was talking to a friend lately about this. And this person asked me, are you keeping yourself informed? And I was like, true. That's true. We can actually save time, save energy, and gain some extra advantages by knowing what's going on. Actually, I want to give you that question. How do you keep yourself informed? What is your main source of news, of recent news? Is it TikTok? Is it Instagram? Is it actually, TV channels like news? What can we do to be informed? So maybe that we can be one step ahead. Ask yourself, what is it? Twitter? Twitter doesn't exist anymore. X3, and probably the one that we don't want to think about is, we should be prepared. Somehow, we should be prepared. Let's assume something is happening tonight, tomorrow. At home, do you even have water? Do you have a flashlight? Do you have any canned food? What can we do? All the time I'm literally thinking in those, unreal scenarios in my head, where would I run? And I want to share that with you. Where would I run? In the case of, there is an invasion. And I'm not talking about aliens. There is an invasion about, real people, an invasion, and you need to run. I wouldn't say that staying at home is the best option. I have one option that I want to share with you, and literally give me your comments. So here we go. I really think that in the case of, bombs, attacks, staying in your building, staying in the main cities is just not a good idea. I feel that I'm part of the target. Yes, I'm also assuming that at home I count on some water, I have a flashlight, I have something, whatever it is to defend yourself. I have some of that. Let's suppose I already have a backpack, a runaway backpack ready to be used. Question is, where would I go? This is the answer. Deep green forest. That's where I would go. Green forest. Really, I would really get immersed in the forest, deep forest, under a tree, behind a rock. Something like deep forest. I think there I would have more chances. But there is always a but. Yeah, maybe the forest wouldn't be the perfect target for missiles or bombs and all that. but also hard to get food, hard to get water. I don't know, but I think that's the safest option, at least for a while. I understand. So many things to think about, so many things to consider. We are already in a society where we have to be scared, and we live in I don't know, in constant fear by so many things. But this is it. Those are the present times we are living on. Honestly, maybe out of this video, I hope that this kind of, I don't know, arises a couple of questions about survival. What would you do? That's the question. What would you do? Think about those things. One of the most important is that actually I was not even considering how well are you informed. Last but not least, thank you so much for watching this video and walking around with me. Do not forget to subscribe, to like, to comment. That's gonna help me a lot. As always, we keep in touch. Cheers. Oh, and don't forget to check the links. Bye.